What's going on, everyone? This is Ryan from Ryan and Crystal's Reviews, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. I know I've been talking on some other videos about how I want to get my light box going and get my lighting set up. We haven't been able to quite get that accomplished yet, but I've got a lot of figures that I need to knock out some reviews for you guys, so I want to go ahead and do that. So today we're going to be checking out the War Machine from Avengers Endgame. I almost said Age of Ultron, believe it or not, but it's Avengers Endgame. It's MMS 530. It's diecast 31, so this is the 31st diecast figure they've done. So you can see the box art here is absolutely beautiful, and typical Avengers Endgame box art we've seen for Nebula and Black Widow. I'm trying to think of a couple of the other Endgame figures that I've gotten. Hawkeye. Forgot about Hawkeye. We did Ronin. So that's it. Flip the box around. You can see all the cast and crew, all the legal mumbo jumbo. And one thing I like about these new die casts is instead of the box coming apart up the bottom, they slide out of the side. So I really like that. So we're going to stick that guy right there. So as you can see, War Machine right there on the front. So this feels like their typical styrofoam packaging. This is a little bit heavier duty than some of the other ones in the past, but I don't think that really means it. So first looks is amazing as always, and you guys will know on my videos I always talk about how great Hot Toys does with their figures and how just amazing they do packaging and everything like that. So this one doesn't really come with a lot of accessories. It comes with just a few hands, the gun, his sentry gun, and that's pretty much it. An extra head sculpt, and then which is the typical roadie head sculpt we've gotten for the last 6 figures. Because this is 6 figures. So this is the 006. So let's go ahead and get him out of the packaging here. As you can see, just beautiful detail on that figure. Let's get him out there. Look at that. And he just shines in my artificial regular old lighting right here. So let's get him out. Now you're going to see there's going to be a lot of these little styrofoam pads everywhere, so you got to kind of work your way around and get all them out. Just take your time. Don't get all too crazy with it, because you don't want to ruin your figure before you even had a chance to even get him any kind of poses or anything like that. So just take your time. And worst case scenario, these things will break apart and split apart, which is really what they're designed to do. I really think Hot Toys wants them to be able to just rip them apart as you're taking them off the figure. So I mean, just already as I'm going through here, excuse me, you can tell that he's got a lot of articulation, and he looks great just sitting down right there. Let's go ahead and pop the head off, because we've got a little plastic cover there. Pop his head back on. This mask, I don't believe this one comes off. I think this one is strictly, they've just got that on there. And then he's also got, ankle plastic. These are the ones I really don't like, because I always feel like these are the hardest ones to get out and to get off. Because what I always worry about is, because you can see right here already he's got some ankle flaps, different ankle flaps there, and last thing you want to do is get a little too crazy with it and break one of those ankle flaps. That one came off a lot easier. So first impressions are great, phenomenal. I mean, I like this detail right here that's a little bit different on his suit than what we've seen in the past. I like the arc reactor, looks nice. The chest piece looks real nice. And of course he's got his pretty typical articulation. Hands can go out. Feet, these little things will fold up, little flaps, and you can see his legs will go out pretty far. So you can get him in, I would almost think you could probably get him in the landing pose if you wanted to. So we got his feet all the way, his legs all the way out. And they will pull down. So you can pull down on this leg and then just go right back up with it to get him to be balanced again. One thing you want to be careful of is anytime you've got an Iron Man die cast, whether it's Iron Man or Rhodey, is these little flaps right here. These little flaps right here are really treacherous when it comes to scratching the figure, and that's one thing you definitely don't want to do. Be like scratching scuffing up a brand new pair of shoes right out of the box. You don't want to do that. We don't want to scuff him up right away, because over time you're going to get a little bit of damage to your figure, because that's just kind of how it works. And then of course you got your chest separator, which is pretty typical for your Iron Man figures now. This one's giving me a little bit of fits. I think I got one leg longer than the other, so we'll pull that down. Still got one leg longer than the other. Okay, so let's take a look. Let's set him down. We'll take a look at all the accessories that we got. Let's get everything out of the box here. Now, I bought him from a seller on eBay, and actually got him cheaper than what he's currently going for on Sideshow. So you can still buy him on Sideshow. He's still available, and he's a great pickup. I think a lot of people are waiting on the Iron Patriot. If you want to know the truth, I think that's a superior suit. It's bigger. It looks like there's more to it. I know people have been complaining about the color of it, but that would have been the color in the film had it not been so dark during that time period. So we got our typical stand here with our waist grabber and our Avengers base. Of course, we have our batteries. I don't really use the batteries. If I was going to do some photographing and some posing with him to take pictures, I would probably go ahead and put the batteries in and then take them out not long after. So that's your base, typical Avengers base with this nice glossy A on here and this rough, you probably hear that, this rough texture. You got War Machine there on the front, and then the War Machine logo right here, which is really cool. So pretty typical hexagonal base that we've gotten for all of the Endgame figures. Now, it is not a flight dynamic base, so don't think that you can put him in flight poses or dynamic poses when it comes to like him being in the air, because if you will, this thing will probably topple over, more than likely. So we just pop off the cap here, slide this guy down. May have to grab us a screwdriver, one of our little screwdrivers, but we'll just leave it for that for now. But that's a pretty typical base. You got your batteries, and it comes with a screwdriver. So that's really nice, because lately when you get, well, I take that back. I was going to say lately when you've been getting Iron Man figures, you don't get the screwdriver, and I thought Hot Toys kind of did away with that. But I do remember that I do have the Mark 7. I have not done the review on that yet. And that one I believe has a screwdriver with it. So I think it's just like your typical figures that you have like lights for, like the Wasp has lights that light up her helmet, stuff like that. So you just unscrew that a little bit, get him to go down over that top piece, and then you can get him where you think you're going to need him, and then just tighten the screw back up in the back. That just tightens that up, keeps it nice and sturdy. We'll keep that out in case I need to make that adjustment when we get him on the stand. So I just usually keep the batteries in. I usually just keep the batteries in the plastic there. I don't really try to separate those anymore because I did that in the past and you would get lost. So let's check out the hands. So you get one set of your normal hands that have the articulated fingers on it, so you can mess with them like that if you want. And then you get a right and left, and then you get your regular right and left repulsor blast hands. See there, nice detail there on the back. Get some light there so you can see it. Nice detail on the back there, that black kind of brushing that looks real nice. And then we get the typical Don Cheadle Rhodey head sculpt, which is what we've gotten now for the last, I don't know, 5-6 figures. And then we get the faceplate. I like this one. This one actually has red eyes. So if you go to put, you can't put the batteries in that one. But I think this one also has red eyes. Let's pop his head off. Yeah. You can see there, it's got the red eye to it. Got the neck joint that pops off with it. And then I think what just happens is this top just pops off. But we will look at that later in a bit. And then the final piece is his gun, which is a little bit different than what we've seen in the past for his Canon gun. Obviously, it's just going to pop in right there. And this is pretty close to what we see in the prototype pictures for the Iron Patriot. This triangular style Canon gun, which is kind of cool. So, like I said, looking forward to seeing the Iron Patriot in hand. We're probably, my guess is we're probably about 3 months away from that. I don't see it happening anytime sooner, and I probably said that, and tomorrow they'll probably put out photos for it, knowing my luck. But I think we're a few months out from seeing in-hand photos and getting that one released. We did just get the Venom released from the Venom movie, from the last Venom movie, which was like 2 years ago. Go check that out on the channel. We've got that already up and ready to go, so you can check that out. And it looks like, so I just want to make sure that I don't give you guys bad information. He has detachable forearms. Yeah, so his forearms, the insides will detach. Pop those off, put the cover on, you're good to go. Yeah, so the top of the helmet is back here, right there, just like that. So I'll pop that guy off, and then there's your battery for that. Just for grins, let's install the batteries on this just to look at the eyes. See how well the eyes light up. Now there are different types of modifications out there to put batteries in these in case you don't want to put batteries in yours. I usually keep mine out. I'm just going to do it for the video. We're going to put the batteries in this, and then you can see me struggle trying to put batteries in these because it is a struggle. If anybody that knows has ever tried to put batteries in these, it is a struggle. So these are the AG1s, which you need a magnifying glass just to see them. But I believe they are the smaller ones. I believe these bigger ones are the arc reactor ones, the chest reactor. Yeah, I think these are the ones we need right here. No, those, well, oh, we need the 621s is what we need. 621s, I think that's these. Yes. Okay. And then we'll put one like that. If I can do this on the first try, I will be shocked. I tell you, absolutely shocked if I can get this in on the first try. Because these things are so delicate. Alright, there's two. Actually, it would probably turn on with two. Well, kind of did, but let's go ahead and get the last one in there. So typically, if you can get it to work with just 2 batteries, because it will make contact, because the third one is always kind of difficult to put in because you're pushing up against the spring, so you got to give it a little bit of force. First try. First try, baby. Here we go. Woo! There we go. So there's the lights. Looks pretty cool. And we'll kick those back off because everybody knows that if you've ever put batteries in these things, you turn it on and you get about 5 to 10 minutes. And then that's all you get because the batteries have ran out. So put the screw back in. Probably just keep them in this one just for grins. See if we can get that thing going back. There we go. Can't believe I got that first try. And then pop back on. Back to, okay. So important, read the instruction booklet, go through it, make sure you familiarize yourself with it a little bit. That way you don't push the figure beyond its limitations and you don't try to put the batteries in the wrong spot. Because I did that on my War Machine Mark II, which used to be up there next to the Stealth Iron Man 3, but he's in my cabinet now. I tried to, what I thought was one of the arm pieces that came off. It actually wasn't the right one, and when I put enough force on it, I actually popped off the little cannon that goes on his arm, and I had to glue it back together. So that was kind of a pain. But it is what it is. You've got to do that once or twice so you kind of figure out, you live and you learn what you can and can't do with these figures. Let's pop this head back on. Boom. Now I have noticed that so I've got his legs completely all the way down that they'll go. And this little flap right here will slide in just fine. But if I go up, there's 3 clicks there. And if I go up to the last click, it wants to, you can kind of see, we'll push it. And then as I move the leg forward, you can see that start to pop up. So that's something to be a little bit careful with as you're posing your figures. You always want to make sure that, especially with the die-cast ones, that you know the limitations of what the figure can and cannot do. So let's get him. So you can see he's got double jointed knees. That's as far back as he'll go. Nice click to it. And then, oh, we got a rogue piece of styrofoam plastic. So going back, you don't get a lot of movement to the back. So you can see that's about as far as I would push it because of this piece right here. I'd be a little worried about scratching that. So let's go ahead and get his cannon in. So there's a slot right here for the cannon. It's a little bit different than some of the War Machines in the past, where he has the whole back had kind of an opening to where you could slide the cannon back and forth. This one's a little bit different, so, but I do like these because you got a lot of articulation on it. So boom, got it right there. So you can kind of pose it like that, and then you've got him kind of right there, which is, I don't know, that looks awful close to me for, I don't know if it's supposed to look that close or not. Let's go to the instructions just to make sure that I have it right, because the last thing I want to do is put that in there and it get damaged. Yeah, that's exactly, so they show it like, whoop. Oh, and this part rotates too. That's cool. Show you that here in a second. So this part goes down like that. Part goes like that, straight down. Slides in like so. And then that right there joint kicks it up. And then you've got all kinds of rotation around like that. And then this actually rotates as well. So you can see that rotating, which is really cool. So that's really cool. So there's not, like I said, there's not a lot to him because he just doesn't have a lot of accessories and a lot of accessories, really. That's really just kind of the main part there as I'm stuttering through this. But one thing that I really like is this cannon. It's a little bit different than what we've gotten in the past. Like I said, it only pops into this one side. I think the I want to say the Mark III, which was the Civil War suit, was similar to that. The Mark IV I don't have from Infinity War. I'm working on trying to get that one. That's on my list. And then the Mark V, I believe, is the Iron Patriot is the Mark V, I believe. Well, is what considered the Mark, or maybe it's the Mark 7. I don't know, I'll have to Google that. But this figure, I mean, for what it is, you know, it's probably, it reminds me a lot of the Avengers Age of Ultron figure, which is the Mark II War Machine, where it was just pretty much a real slim design, and you had your cannon and a couple sets of hands, and that's it. It's not the beefy, gigantic, thick Infinity War version where you had a lot more of these cannons in the back, and it came with a dynamic stand, or it didn't. Yeah, no, it came with a regular stand, but you got one of the, I can't remember what those things are called now. I always seem to draw blanks on these when I do these videos. I always draw a blank on something. So you get one of those, and I mean it's a nice figure. I like it. I like the slimmer design. If you're going for something, maybe you want to see something bigger, then you probably want to gravitate towards the Iron Patriot. But all in all, I think this is a great figure. We're just going to get him on the base. So this is going to have to go up a little bit. So we're just going to stand him here on the base normal. See the clip. So you can see there. Boom. Just pretty typical. Nothing too crazy pose wise. You get a good look there at the front. Good look there at the chest piece and going down. You know, like I said, this is to me, we set it in the case. You kind of put it like this. Maybe you do a pose with him with the, you know, getting ready to do the repulsor blasts. And other than that, you're not going to get a lot of other, you know, great poses out of him unless you go and you're using a dynamic stand, say from an older figure. Like the Civil War figure always comes to mind with that Mark 46 stand, which is really nice. I really hope they do a figure that has, whoop, put his hand on the wrong hand. I hope they do a figure that has that base again. If you go watch my review of the Shang-Chi Hot Toys, you'll see that in the pictures for Winwoo, he actually has that base on a couple of their pictures. So I don't know if that's going to be, if they're really going to do that. I doubt it, but you never know. Whoops. So we're going to try to get him in a little bit of a pose here. You get a little bit of hip and waist articulation. Put him like that. I kind of want to test the weight of these joints and see how good they are. See how well it stands up. That's okay. Not great. That's always one thing about the die-cast figures that I always look at, is if I put, like you'll see here, if I take this arm and I put this arm up like this, does it do that? Does the weight of the arm bring it down? You know, so if I'm trying to do something in picture form, you know, is it going to be a little bit more difficult because this guy isn't going to want to stay? And you see with this one, this guy's pretty much stayed where it is, but this joint here is a little bit looser. So you're gonna have to kind of figure that out as you're going around posing your figure, because they're all not all of them are exactly the same. So I'm getting back on the stand here just for some stability. And that's another problem with this figure when it comes to the stand, is this stand is very small, the base. So, you know, his feet are right on the edges. So, as you can see here, his feet are right on the edge. So that kind of worries me a little bit, but we got him in a little bit of a dynamic style pose. He's kind of going one way, going the other. Outriders. Isn't that what they're called? Yeah, something like that. I'm drawing a blank, and I shouldn't do that, but I do. It's okay. So, there he is. So you can see, got him in, and then again, this arm. I'd like to have these arms at kind of the same height, but this joint is not going to allow me to do that, I don't think. Yeah. The joint is just not sturdy enough, tight enough to allow that to happen. So it's going to kind of fall a little bit flatter. You can see it's a little bit closer. What I could do is I could take him and lean him a little bit this way to kind of hide that, to give it a little more of a, you know, where I take. You can see this is already starting to, just in this short time period, it's already starting to kind of want to fall on his weight, because he's hard to keep on the stand. I can take it and kind of fall his chest a little bit one way to give it that illusion of these being closer to the same height because of the joint on this. So there are things you can do